course it will.
Of course it will. Hey, hey, everyone. How are you? How are you? How are you? This is Latanya. I am here with Dawn Osborne, and I am excited today because we have the opportunity to talk to you in regards to the SBA loans and all of the information that she will have available for you, especially during this time of the pandemic. First and foremost, I'm hoping that each and every one of you guys are taking care of yourselves. You're doing well. You're boosting yourselves with all the good nutrients to build up your immune system. And we are excited that you all are here with us on today. I'm excited to have Dawn with us because I always say that we all have gifts and we have talents. And one thing that I know for sure is that Dawn is well gifted and she has expanded her craft when it comes to SBA loans, when it comes to grants, when it comes to all things government, state, and federal. And I'm excited for her to be here on this afternoon. Dawn, say
Hey,
hello to the
Latanya.
people.
Hey, everyone. How are you? This is a
Yes, yes,
wonderful
yes.
day.
What an amazing day. And so, especially now during this pandemic, Don, I wanted to make sure that, hello, T King. I wanted to make sure that we provided as much information as possible to everyone that's out there because we don't know a lot of times, especially in our community, in the African American community. We're not privy to the information that is available, as well as we don't take advantage of it. And so, first and foremost, Don, because you guys, if you have questions, be sure to ask them here in our comments. Hey, T King, and all of you guys, make sure to ask the questions, and I can also ask Don, and we can answer them for you. We'll only be here for 30 minutes. We're not going to go over that because I know you all are busy. Don has a busy life, and we want to make sure that we get in as much information as possible in those 30 minutes. So, Don, first and foremost, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. And I'm so happy to be here with you, Latanya. Coming together, we always make things happen. And so I'm happy to be connected and happy to be available to everyone to share some information.
Yeah, yeah. So first and foremost, Don, tell us more about the SBA loan, the grant. Tell us what is it, especially now during this time of our pandemic, the COVID-19. Share a little bit more information in regards to it.
Well, I don't know. Well, the SBA loans, they're all loans. They're not
Okay.
necessarily grants. They are the payroll protection loan is can be forgivable. So then it
Okay.
would be like a grant to small to large businesses. But they are all SBA loans. There's a couple of
Okay.
different variations. There is the disaster relief one that has a $10,000 advance. There
Mm-hmm.
is a loan that's specific for homeowners. There is the SBA. There's a payroll protection loan, which is designed
Okay.
for employers, and it's they really created that one so that people wouldn't lose their jobs, so they wouldn't increase the unemployment rate and they wouldn't increase the homeless rate. So that loan was designed to infuse 2 months capital into businesses so that they
Mhm.
can sustain their payroll during this pandemic,
During this
right? And
pandemic.
so, yeah, it is a
Okay.
pandemic and it is very hard for a lot of businesses. If your business hasn't been deemed as essential, then you're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
closed. And so what happens to your employees? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a host of businesses that are essential and there's a host of businesses that are not. And so there's a lot of people that are facing unemployment. Macy's, we all know how many stores Macy's closed. There's a lot of businesses like that. When you think about it and you go and you roll by and TJ Maxx is closed and Kohl's is closed and all of these stores are closed and malls are
Mm-hmm.
closed, there's
Right.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are being displaced, and for
Right.
as far as employment goes. And so the Payroll Protection Act, that loan is designed to enable companies to keep their employees during this time, right? And so
Okay.
that's one of the largest loans. But the
Okay.
disaster relief loan that we have the link up for is a SBA loan for small to mid-sized businesses with either employees or independent contractors. And you
Mhm.
submit the application online. It's a pretty simple, they say set aside 2 to 3 hours. I guess if you weren't as
Mm.
versed as I am in submitting the applications, it
Right.
could take longer, but it did not take me anywhere near 2 to 3 hours
Mhm.
to submit. And I've been assisting others in submitting them. So it's a loan that you have to have all of your information available when you log in the system to present it, because it asks a lot of questions. You need a lot of
Okay.
information. And it is a precursor to the full SBA loan, because once you submit that, they will then contact you for the rest of the information that they need if you apply with the link
Okay.
that we sent out.
That we sent out. And for you guys, there is a link. It's on my page on Facebook. I also put it in the community, and I'll also add it in on our YouTube page as well. So Don, let's talk about, and if you guys have questions, definitely ask those questions. I'll definitely share them with Don. So Don, let's talk about the disaster loan. Is it
Okay.
up to $10,000 or is it $10,000 a flat rate?
No, it's not even that. It's more than 10,000. It can be more than $10,000. But with that
Okay.
particular loan, you can check the box and ask for a $10,000 advance. So they will look at your initial submission and see if you qualify for the advance, and they're sending out 10 billion, I think it's $10 billion in $10,000 advances. Now there's
Mhm.
literally millions of businesses that are applying for it. So the sooner you got to get it out, the better. The thing is, in our communities, people aren't even aware. Small businesses, mom and pop stores, grocery store,
Right.
liquor stores, and the little food markets, and that they're not aware that they can even apply
Right.
for this money, right? And so
Right.
that is a disaster relief link. It's been up for a couple of weeks now, so you ideally should have gotten it in sooner, but I wouldn't not submit it, because if something
Mhm.
else you're submitting doesn't go through, at least you have a chance for that to go through and be pushed through to the
Mhm.
next phase of the loans without the $10,000 advance. But the real thing about that one is there's a box that you can check and say, I would like to be considered for the $10,000 advance,
Mhm.
which means that you would get that $10,000 as soon as they see you have the core parts of your
Okay.
application there, and then they would send the rest. You are verifying that all of the
Mhm.
information is there. So let me just kind of tell you what they're doing. So they're doing is they're collecting the requested information in order to make a loan
Okay.
under SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, right? And
Mhm.
that to qualified entities. So this first part is what qualifies you as an entity that has been impacted by coronavirus.
Mhm.
Every entity has been impacted by coronavirus. So people are like, well, I don't know if I qualify. Well, if you've been impacted by coronavirus, your business has been lessened by coronavirus, and you can project that through this, you're going to lose money. You are impacted
Mhm.
by you are eligible on that, just for that particular check mark of eligibility. There's some other check marks
Okay.
that they have in there. They ask for a lot of information. Um, the key is that the when you do ask for the $10,000 advance, you are relying on self-certification that's contained in the application to verify that your entity is eligible. So
Okay.
when you answer those questions, answer them with absolute truth, because you're self-certifying. And if they give you the money and they find out not, then you could be held under penalty, right? But don't
Wow.
be afraid,
Mhm.
because the worst thing
Don't
that
be
you could do
afraid.
is say, I answered the questions. Now, as I'm being
Right.
asked more questions, I'm not eligible. And you give them their money back,
That's
right?
it.
And then I have
Yeah.
people that come to me and say, well, Dawn, I don't want a loan. I want a grant.
Okay.
Well, free money is not free money. For-profit entities don't always have money available, right? And
Mhm.
I'm a big believer of, if you don't need all of their money and they
Right.
give you a $10,000 advance and they give you more money, then set aside $4,000 of their money and pay them back with their money. Use the rest for your business, and then turn that
Mhm.
around and then pay the loan back. Why not?
And then put the loan back. Right.
Because we
Right.
don't know how long COVID is going to be impacting our lives, but we do know it's not going to be done by April 30th,
And that's real talk.
right?
I mean, at
Real
least
talk is it's not going to be
we
done
got a
by
couple
April
of
30th.
months.
The other thing is,
Right.
if you
Right.
are a business owner and you
Mhm.
can't pay back $6,000 to $10,000 in 18 to 24 months, because they're not going to ask you to pay it back in 6 months. If you can't pay it back in 18 to 24 months using some of their money to pay them back, you might as well just change it, go get you a job.
Right. Because
What are you doing?
right. What are you
You
doing?
know?
Because you got to,
And
yeah.
so
And that's real.
I would encourage those watching to look at your business structure. You can do it if you only have independent contractors. You don't have to have employees. But also I would challenge you from today forward to look at why you don't have employees. Why aren't you paying yourself as an employee? Why aren't you setting aside the 30% in taxes to make sure that you're paying yourself as an employee? Right? And what is your business structure? And is it a business or is it a hustle?
Which one is it? And someone asked the question, can you apply if you don't have any employees? That's Women Blessing Women's. Hey, you guys, can you apply if you don't have any employees?
Yes, you can apply if you don't have any employees. You would just
is that the disaster one?
The disaster
or is that
one
the
you can apply. The disaster one you can apply if you don't have any employees. The not the Women Blessing Women, excuse me. The payroll protection one you cannot apply if you don't have employees.
Okay.
So there's a couple of different things. So hey EJ, hey LaShawn, all of Howard, Tiki, Angela, you guys can apply, but if you don't have employees, you just have to answer the questions honestly. Don't say you have employees, because then they're going to be looking for your 941s and your DE6s. They're going to be looking for the payroll tax proof. Right.
Okay.
And so, and if you have employees, but you're not paying them properly, you're calling them employees, but they're really independent contractors, label them as such, issue them a 1099, and you can apply with independent contractors, because they are understanding that some businesses actually have independent contractors. Caveat: if you're calling them independent contractors, then you as a business owner, if you've paid them more than $600 in this year, should have issued a 1099.
Anyway,
if you didn't, you're responsible for their taxes.
Yeah, because California has that new tax law now out too. So it's getting very, very tricky. And so did we answer your question? Can you apply if you don't have any employees? I believe we have. Yes. Okay, so you can apply, but under the disaster one, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Apply under the disaster one. And so they tell you that the estimated time for completing the application is 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's a lot shorter if you have all of the information in front of you, right?
Okay.
And so I want to go over the kind of information you have to have in front of you. And so you may not need to complete all of the parts. You are not required to respond to all of the parts that do not apply to you. But when they respond back to you from the disaster relief, do not respond to anything that doesn't have that OMB approval number. At the end of your loan, you're going to get an OMB approval number that says this is your OMB approval number. No, the SBA, no one from the government will reach out to you without that OMB approval number. So we don't know how many databases are being created. And if those databases are breached, they will not respond. The government will not respond without that OMB approval number, which is really important because there's a lot of fraud going on right now. Everybody's promising things. Everybody's tapping into people's fear and their desperation. And so be really careful right now when you are applying for anything, or if anyone says they're coming to you to help, make sure, be really careful. Don't just give out your information. That's just something that I've learned in working with the city and my city contracts and everything else. There's DWP workers showing up in uniforms, and DWP's not sending anybody out to your house to come into your house right now. So just be really careful. But that's a sidebar. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that they're going to do. They're going to ask you if you have a business, if it has 500 employees or less, if the applicant, an individual operator who operates under a sole proprietorship with or without employees, or is it independent contractor? So you have that option to select that. Is the applicant a cooperative with not more than 500 employees? Is the applicant an employee stock ownership with not more than 500 employees? Is the applicant a tribal business with not more than 500 employees? Is the applicant a business including agriculture? And then they have a link there that sends you to another company. Is the business a business with 500, more than 500 employees that is small under SBA size standards? And then there's a link there. So they've got a couple of different variations and a lot of choices for you to determine which type of business you are at the onset of the application, right? And then they have, is the applicant a private, nonprofit, government agency, or a nonprofit organization? Okay. So that's the other choice that you could be. So once you check that, then it goes to ask you a couple of questions that would make you ineligible. Like, is the applicant engaged in illegal activity as designed? And then they have nerve enough to say, as defined by federal guidelines.
Right. Are you involved in illegal activity
as it relates to federal guidelines? So,
and tell the truth, right?
And so, is the principal applicant with 50% or greater ownership, within 60 days or more delinquent in child support obligations? They're looking to see if you can self-disqualify before going any further.
Okay.
The applicant is not an agricultural enterprise. There's another different type of funding for agricultural enterprises.
Okay.
The applicant does not present live performance of a prurient sexual nature derived directly or indirectly. So they're trying to find out if you're doing things, selling sexual products, doing videos or anything like that. They're not going to fund that.
Right.
If you derive more than a third of your gross income from legal gambling activities, they're not going to do the loans, right? Okay. Is the applicant in the business of lobbying because they don't want any different angles for you to try and get the money? And it cannot, you cannot be a state, local, or municipal government entity or a member of Congress. So they've made sure that the members of Congress aren't eligible for this either. So those are the self-disqualifying questions that they have there that just let you know. We want to know what size entity you are, and then we want to make sure you're not doing any of these things. So they're really clear on giving you the opportunity to say, hey, okay, with this, I'm not eligible. If you check it, it'll tell you that you're not eligible. So they have all of those opportunities for you to be deemed as eligible or ineligible in that process. Right. And so then they go into all of the things I'm going to go into the kinds of information that they're looking for. Right. Okay. They want to know, one, the name of the business. Right. And your name of the business doesn't have to be a corporation. It could be a DBA, but they want to know the name of the business. Right. They want an email address for the business. They want a business address. Now, if your business address is your home business, that's fine. They just want a business address. So whatever you're using as your business address is what they're looking for there. Right. Okay. They want a business phone number. If your business phone number is one and the same with your cell phone number, that's going to be okay too. Right. But they want a business phone number. They want to know if they call asking for someone from 123 Printing and you answer that phone, you're going to know that that's 123 Printing.
Right.
Right. They want to know the date the business was formed. And so their next question is the date the business started, because sometimes we form a business and then we don't start working in the business till months later. Those might be two dates, different dates, but they might be one in the same. Right. They want to know your gross revenue, and everyone gets stumped on this question. They just want to know how much you made. It's not a complicated question. It doesn't have to be to the penny an exact number.
Yeah.
Right. It can be a very close ballpark number, but if you have it on your taxes from 2019, then put the number you put on your taxes as your gross revenue. Right. And they want to know they want to know cost of goods, but if you have a service business like mine, you're not going to necessarily have a cost of goods. So that's okay for that number to be zero, or depending on what your cost of goods is for your business. If you sell T-shirts and you had to buy $50,000 worth of T-shirts, that's the cost for your cost of goods, right? Then they want to know your total expenses. What are your total business expenses? And sometimes your business expenses can oversee your gross revenues. That's okay too, right? People are like, well, I don't want to show them that I'm operating at a loss. Why? Well, we want
the fear factor. The fear factor.
We want your business to be deemed as profitable, but right now they're looking at how we can help you. You might have a slow start this year, or you may have had a rough patch last year. But don't put it down as one thing and something else as the other. Don't add to your business to make it look like you didn't have a loss, and then you showed a loss so that you get a break on your taxes.
Right. On your taxes. Exactly.
Make sure you're being
Okay.
that's transparent, and you're 100% transparent on that. They need to see
Yeah.
what it is, because when they look at the taxes, they're going to see it anyway. And if your
Yeah.
business
They're
is
gonna
new and
see
this
it.
is your first year filing taxes and you haven't filed them yet, you can still file them.
Okay.
And if your business is brand new, they're going to see that it's brand new. They like to see your businesses that are older. But what I told people, they were like, well, my business is this. I said, well, what happens if they just happen to give you the money and you didn't and you don't apply?
Mm.
All they can say is
Hmm.
no.
All they can say is no. So you guys, if you know you're out there and you have a small business, just go for it. I mean, go for it. I mean, all they can do is say is no.
So you got to have a tax ID number, right?
Tax ID number.
Um, Even if you have a DBA and you haven't gotten a tax ID number yet, you can use your social security number. But I would tell you, if you have a DBA, go get a tax ID number. Separate
Okay.
yourself in that business, right? Just
Okay.
do it. It's simple, right? And then they want to know the type of business that you have. Is it an S corp? Is it a C corp? Is it an LLC? Is it a sole proprietorship? If it's a
Mm-hmm.
DBA, it's a sole proprietorship. You can just determine that. They want to know if you have a rental property loss of rents. And I have a
Mm.
client that has an Airbnb, and he definitely had loss of
Right.
rents,
Right.
right? And so, how is your business being impacted? If you have tenants and they are not paying, and you know they're not going to pay, then you can project the loss of rents for 3 months,
Yeah. For 3 months. Right. Right.
right? They want to know the name of the principal of the company. They want to know that principal's date of birth. They want to
Mm-hmm.
know your place of birth. They want to know your social security number in addition to the EIN of the company. If it's one
Mm-hmm.
and the same because you're a sole proprietor, that's fine, but they really want you to have an EIN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they want to know your personal email, because they have a section on the principal where they ask for your personal email. They want to know your
Mm-hmm.
residential address. If it's the same as the business address, that's fine, because that just means you're a home-based business. But they want to know
Right.
your residential address. Then they
Okay.
want to know your bank name, the routing number, and the account number, because the ideal scenario is that $10,000 advance would just be wired to your account.
Mm-hmm. So it can be a quick process,
They say it
opposed to
could
a
be a quick
paper
process, but I
check.
don't know anybody that's received it yet.
Yeah, yeah, but opposed to a paper check. So everything is trying to be happen electronically, just like for unemployment. I believe they said they're giving out little cards, Bank of America cards, and they're putting the
Yeah,
money on the cards opposed to sending out checks. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what
Okay.
happens with that's what happens with the unemployment. It's the same thing that happened. I've submitted probably about 23 grants since this process with the COVID emergency funds. And most
Mm-hmm.
of the funders that are funding these emergency grants, they want your banking, your routing information, because they want to just wire the money to you,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? And so
Okay.
that's something that they want. Oh, and they want you to have a business account. They want to wire it into the business account.
Into the business account. So for many people that are here now, hopefully everything is in order, because we always talk about the foundation anyway. So
Right.
even if your foundation is currently not in order, things like this will cause you to put yourself in order. Make sure your foundation is straight. Am I right, Don?
Yes, it's
Because we don't
important
know
to
what's
make sure
coming
your
next.
foundation is straight. So many businesses
Yeah.
in our communities, they don't have their paperwork together. That was the way
Hmm.
I should say that, right? There's a couple of things I can say, but they don't have their
Right.
together, but they don't have their
Right.
paperwork together. It's so important to
Yes.
have your paperwork in order, right? You want to have your articles of incorporation or your DBA paperwork. You
Mhm.
want to have your EIN paperwork from the IRS so that you have that in order. You want to have your banking information so that you have that in order. The things that I read off shouldn't take a competent business owner but 10, 15 minutes to pull all together.
Right. And you'll be
You should
done, and
have
you can
that
have that
one drawer in your
together.
office where you have your articles of incorporation. You might have it all in a binder, your articles, your bylaws, your basic
All of it.
business information, your EIN, your taxes, and all of your pertinent business information, your insurance, and all of that, right? All of that should be in
Hmm.
one place. And
One
so
big
you
binder.
should develop a
Hmm.
system to make it so that if you don't have this stuff ready now, this is God's way of just saying, hey, open your eyes and get it together, right?
Right.
Everything should be decent and in order. right? As I
Yeah.
always say, you have to think and eke, and then I go to Habakkuk 2:2, and it's write the vision and make it plain. Well, if you write a
Mm-hmm.
vision and you make it plain and you don't have everything in order to support the vision, what are you doing? Right? And so I challenge
Just
you,
hanging.
all
Right.
of you, to get it in order. You can be an author, you could have a business that's making money. I had a business that was making money at one
Mm-hmm.
time, and then my mom got sick, and I found out that as much as it was making money, I didn't have it was solely reliant upon me. So now I
Right.
do things totally different. And so put your business in order and
Mm-hmm.
make it, because if it's not in order, guess what? You don't have a business. You got to hustle,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So
And so,
are you conducting business or are you hustling?
are you hustling? So, Don, now for people who, and for you guys, I did put the link there for you all to check it out. But Don, if they need more information, what is the best way to contact you? Because I'm going to put your information in here. What is the best way for them to contact you if they have
The
any other
best
questions?
the best way to contact me is to email me at
Okay.
Dawn Osborne 777 at gmail.com. Now, I'm sure you can see my name up there and the way it's spelled. It's spelled just like that, Dawn Osborne, 37s at gmail.com.
Okay. I'm putting it in right now.
You
Okay.
can messenger me on Facebook if you want. Um, and then at that point we can exchange and we can communicate on WhatsApp and that type of thing. Well, on this platform, the information I'm giving out is the phone, is the email and messenger, because we're
And
on Facebook,
messages
so we can do
on
the and
Facebook.
messenger. If you've seen me speak through the list tour or anything like that, and you have no, actually my numbers have all changed, right? So
So
email
they
me.
can kind of email you or connect with you on,
Just
right.
please email me. Right.
Or
The best
as
way to contact me is email and messenger.
okay. So you guys, if you get stumped in any way in filling out this information, and as she said previously, it's the fear that holds us back for going after the things that are available to us. So don't allow fear to take hold of you. Go after everything that's out there and available for you to obtain. And her information is here. Her email address is there, as well as you're able to connect with her on Messenger on Facebook. If you guys find yourself stumped in any way, that way, just simply email me. Find me. You guys can literally Google it, any of us, but connect with me, inbox me, and I can still get you over to Dawn in regards to that. And upcoming, you guys, on the 22nd of April, we're also doing a writing proposal. She's going to be instructing you all on how to. You're so welcome. Someone said thank you, Don. You can
You're welcome,
also
LaShawn.
you can also sign up, you guys, for register for the proposal writing session that we're doing on the 22nd of April. And so for us, it's about obtaining contracts, learning how to write the proposals for grants, for contracts. That's happening on the 22nd of April. Go to the list tour. I'm going to put the information there. Get registered, you guys, because for me, Don, and then you can finalize this. We have a couple of minutes left. I get so many people that ask me, how did you get that contract? What did you do? And I always share with them, there are times that people literally, the companies will ask me, hey, add this word in, put this in, add that, because they're obtaining grant money to fund the project. Talk a little bit more about that, Don, because I want more and more people to understand the process of even obtaining the contracts, but you got to write it the correct way. Go on, Don.
Writing it the correct way is everything. Even answering the questions in these emergency grants and the grants, the SBA, you're going to have to tell them what it is that has caused your need, what your deficit is, and what you're really needing. And so a grant is a business plan, is a proposal, right? And so all of it is you putting your best foot forward and telling people competently in writing what it is that you want to do for them or what it is that you need funding for. And so there's a correct way to say it and there's an incorrect way to say it. There's a way to use words that have power and represent power in your presentation, and there was a way to use words that that disempower you. right?
Mhm.
There's also a way to very competently show that you are the best person or the best company for this contract. And then there's over talking and not being concise enough in your delivery because you put too many words in there, and it confuses your reader. So, how do you deliver a concise, competent proposal full of content that not only the reader wants to read, but they enjoy reading? And even more than it being an enjoyable read, they get the point that you're trying to make if you have conveyed it completely in what you've written. I mean, some of us are great writers, but we don't know how to get to the point. And we like words and we like to use big words, and they're
You
not
better
always
preach.
necessary.
Right.
Right?
And
And
that
so there's a way
and
to
that's a
say
talk.
something simple. Yes, there's a way to say it simply, concisely,
Simplify it.
and get to the point, because people with money don't have time to read a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense.
That's real. And that's so real. Somebody just commented. And that is so true. We got to get to the point.
Get
And,
to the
and and
point.
and even in my experience, you got to get to the point, and it got to be precise. You got to give them what they need. And so I'm excited about that on the 22nd, Dawn, because you'll be able to share. We'll be able to share information on what companies are looking for, because I told someone before, and we're going to end with this. The minute I received a $25,000 check from a Fortune 500 company just for going in and doing a day session, that changed my life. So for me, it's all about contract. I don't want to. I'm done. I'm taking my. When you see that, you guys, when you get a taste of that, your whole mindset begins to change, and you will go after and connect with people who are able to help you write those proposals to get that funding. And so I'm excited about that on the 22nd.
I'm excited about that too. And the other thing is, you are also, it also, when your writing is concise, you're not afraid to ask for what you're worth, because it's
You're not.
clearly stated, and what your worth is made clear, right? And so
Yeah.
what I want to show you is how to convey your get your point across and get what you and your product and your service are worth through
What it's worth.
a wonderful proposal.
And it will change you all. It will change your life. You won't even think the same. It will change your life, you all.
It'll take your
I'm here.
business to the next level.
It'll take it to the next level, and be prepared. All right, you all. Thank you all so much for coming to this live stream. I hope all the information that you needed was there. You can definitely connect with Dawn if you have any further questions. The link is up top on where you can apply for the loan, for the SBA loan, for what is it called? The disaster
Disaster
relief.
Yeah, it's
You can
SBA's
apply for that
disaster.
there.
It's COVID-19 disaster relief.
Okay, it's there. And I put the link up there, you guys. And until next time, we're connecting again on next week. You guys have any questions, you are so welcome. We love you guys so, so very much. And we want to see you succeed and to be successful. Any last words, Dawn?
You guys be safe. Stand on your faith and know that God's got us through this whole thing. And the one thing that I want you to know is that business isn't stopping. So use this time to build your business, take in information, align your business, solidify your foundation, because everything is on an upswing. Everything from here will be going up. We're going into a whole new position as a whole world globally. And so you
It's a
need to
shift.
position your business to be on that upswing.
Be ready, you guys. We lead, and we lead with excellence. All right. Love you all so much. And until we meet again, use this information to your benefit. All right. Take care, you guys. We love you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.